In Tenakai General Hospital, there's one department where impossible cases converge. Patients with untreatable illnesses, murders even the police can't solve. Genius Dr. Takao Ameku tackles the unthinkable, revealing the hidden truths behind these mysterious diseases. Prepare to enter a world where medicine meets the unknown, and the cure is only the beginning. Dr. Ameku Takao was busy typing articles in her cramped office, which contained so many books that the local library had begun drafting a complaint. She was a meticulous doctor who analyzed everything in excruciating detail, from rare diseases to people's questionable anime obsessions. Her girlfriend had offered to join the group, but was too afraid to blow. Meanwhile, Tenakai General Hospital welcomed a frantic mother and her gravely ill son. The mother insisted that her child had been suffering from relentless vomiting, blurred vision, and agonizing headaches for weeks. None of the clinics they visited could uncover the cause. Dr. Takanashi, oozing professional confidence, calmly assured her they were waiting on test results. Junior Dr. Mai chimed in that although antiemetics and suppositories had relieved some symptoms, the boy was still reeling from dizziness, nausea, headaches, fatigue, and limb pain. Dr. Takanashi scoffed at other clinics for not diagnosing the child's obvious symptoms, speculating it might be a rare neurological disorder or a congenital genetic defect. When the test results came back suspiciously normal, no elevated creatine kinase, no rhabdomyolysis, everyone was baffled. The boy also complained of kidney pain, which only added to the confusion. Amid this chaos, another patient arrived with severe abdominal pain. Dr. Takanashi gave him a quick once-over and asked if he had consumed anything suspicious. The patient shrugged, so they ordered more tests. Abdominal scans ruled out food poisoning and appendicitis. Sensing his confusion, Dr. Mai asked why a physician from investigative pathology was helping the emergency department. He explained that he was moonlighting as a temporary assistant because the place was as busy as a sale on half-present stethoscopes. Dr. Takao, often mistaken as Takao's twin in hospital gossip, then burst into the room. Dr. Mai, eager to impress, introduced herself as Kanai Mai, a first-year resident hoping to learn from the legendary Dr. Takao. Dr. Takao that 2 patients remained undiagnosed and insisted on personally cracking these cases. Dr. Takao, unflustered, agreed and resumed her analysis. After reviewing more data, Dr. Takei examined the sick child. She spotted a vitamin supplement bag in the mother's purse and quickly deduced hypervitaminosis A, caused by excessive vitamin intake. This led to the child's escalating symptoms: kidney pain, headaches, nausea, and dangerous intracranial pressure. When asked how the child could overdose on vitamins, Dr. Takao listened to the mother's guilty confession that she had given her son loads of vitamin A, hoping it would improve his vision. Dr. Takao explained that unbridled vitamin A does not grant superhuman eyesight. It grants a trip to the emergency room. She told her to stop at once before the boy sprouted night vision goggles. Moving on, Dr. Takao faced the second patient. She politely asked if he had eaten any freshly caught fish. The patient admitted he had. Spotting a tanned face, a hat, and a small hook wound on his finger, Dr. Takao deduced he was likely a fishing hobbyist. He probably ate a fish straight from the water, unknowingly ingesting a parasite. She directed Dr. Takao Ndashi to call gastroenterology for an endoscope to remove the unwelcome guest latched onto his stomach lining. Dr. Mai stood there, mouth agape, impressed by Dr. Takao's swift detective work. Dr. Takao gave a modest shrug. After all, diagnosing obscure conditions was far more thrilling than tidying her office, which was still engaged in a cold war with the neighborhood library. Dr. Takanashi was calmly reviewing patient charts when Higashi Kurumi's emergency services called about a construction accident near Kurumi Lake Park. A man had lost his lower left leg and gone into cardiac arrest. The paramedics performed CPR, and Takanashi hurriedly prepared saline and blood supplies. When the patient arrived, everyone gasped at the gruesome wound, which appeared more like an animal bite than a construction injury. As tension gripped the room, a syringe filled with bright blue liquid fell. The paramedic casually announced that the patient's blood was blue, leaving the team as stunned as if they had just witnessed a cat perform open-heart surgery. Dr. Taku then appeared, eager to uncover the truth. The police arrived soon after, asking her to step aside because they still had no explanation for the bizarre incident. Taku instead offered information in exchange for being included in the investigation. Later, she invited Dr. Mai and Takanashi to her home to research possible culprits, suspecting a large predator. Takanashi advised, leaving it to the police, but Taku, proud of her investigative pathology role, refused. Suddenly, Taku's department director called, warning her to drop the case. She argued that investigating medical mysteries was her job. Undeterred by orders, she and Takanashi visited the accident scene, where the police pretended they knew nothing about blue blood. Taku reminded them she had seen high-level officers with Detective Naruse. Flustered, the police hesitated, but eventually followed her lead. She guided them to Kurumi Lake Park, pointing out a nearby museum under renovation. The officers theorized a wild dog had caused the injury, but Taku scoffed, noting the bite was far too large. She then unveiled a giant dinosaur skeleton. Forensic experts, alongside Sekirai, Dr. Takao, and Takanashi, confirmed a perfect match between the ancient teeth and the victim's severed leg. In a stunning twist, it appeared the deed. Everyone stood there, questioning their life choices. After all, no one had signed up for extinct reptiles wreaking havoc in Tokyo's parks. Dr. Takao calmly explained that she had deduced the cause from the unusual nature of the wound and her own observations. She reasoned that such a massive bite could not be from a creature common to modern land or waters too distant for a shark. In short, she believed something extinct was responsible. Sakurai acknowledged her deduction, while his friend blurted out a theory that the museum's dinosaur skeleton might have moved on its own. He then demanded to know why the patient's blood was blue, insisting Takao had left out key information about the skeleton. He recalled seeing it nearly assembled on Friday, but work had halted due to rain. By evening, it had been fully completed. The victim was a 23-year-old ex-convict who, after his release, was discovered trespassing in a gang's building. A construction foreman named Manabe, troubled by the halted work and a feeling of unease, had found the mutilated body during his rounds. He called Hakushuka Clinic, hoping the local doctor could help, but the leg was gone, and the victim's heart had stopped. Takao later visited that clinic, finding it deserted, until Dr. Hakushuka finally appeared. Takao, identifying herself as Tanikai General Hospital's pathology director, asked why no treatment was attempted since the clinic had a surgery room. Hakushuka insisted it was impossible. The clinic was closed, there were no nurses, and the victim's condition was beyond help. Takao then told Sakurai she planned to have the crime lab inspect the museum grounds. She suspected a vital piece of evidence remained there, hinting at a larger mystery lurking behind the immediate crime. Kotori asked if Takao had seen suspicious men at the scene. Takao recalled men who looked like Yakuza and connected it to a recent shooting in Nerima, which could threaten innocent people. She said the Fort Division, an often overlooked organized crime unit, was likely involved. Even as questions about blue blood and extinct predators swirled, Takao made it clear she saw a bigger case behind the severed leg. She intended to uncover it, even if others remained tight-lipped with their information. After identifying the body, they discovered that Komadi was the Yakuza's target. The police suspected that the Yakuza had killed him in an act of revenge, which triggered a swift investigation. Sakurai suggested that solving the case so quickly was typical of Dr. Takao. He then mused that the Yakuza member who shot Komadi might already be dead. Dr. Takao quickly corrected him, clarifying that the shooter was still alive, though seriously injured. He was the vice leader of a small Yakuza gang, currently in conflict with Komadi's gang. Komadi had fled after being shot, but eventually he was captured, tortured, and killed. For now, this was their theory, though Dr. Takao hinted she had her own theory, one she wasn't ready to share just yet. At the museum, Dr. Takao wasted no time spotting a crucial clue: blue blood. They found it in a storage room, and Sakurai's friend wondered aloud if Komadi had been killed there. Moving into another room, Dr. Takao was taken aback by the sight of a dinosaur skeleton. After a brief pause, she declared that she had a diagnosis. Before anyone could react, a man rushed in, startling everyone. Dr. Takao pointed out that they needed to connect all the dots: blue blood, a severed leg by a Tyrannosaurus rex, the Nerima shooting, and the mysterious blue stains in the storage room. Things were starting to come together. Takanashi explained that the condition where blood turns blue is called mehemoglobinemia. This disorder occurs when hemoglobin oxidizes, preventing it from carrying oxygen properly. It causes symptoms like difficulty breathing and weakness, and in severe cases, it can be fatal. Dr. Takao added that this condition arose in the victim after he was shot. possibly due to exposure to substances like procaine. She also noted that the second in command of the rival gang, who was injured as well, likely had a similar condition. As the investigation continued, they uncovered Dr. Hakushika's involvement. Dr. Takao confronted him, pointing out that he had reacted nervously when she mentioned the museum. "Everything in there bears your fingerprints," she said. Hakushika tried to brush it off, claiming that even if the fingerprints were his, it didn't prove he severed the man's leg or disposed of the body. That wouldn't be enough to arrest him. Dr. Takao calmly responded, stating that he wouldn't be arrested for tampering with or disposing of a body, but for breaking into the museum with the intent to steal. She also warned him that his clinic would be searched after his arrest, and they might find his fingerprints and Komoda's blood there. Defeated, Hakushika collapsed to the ground. Sakurai thanked Dr. Takao for her help, but before they could relax, Hakushika tried to attack Dr. Takao, blaming her for his capture. Takanashi stepped in, using a classic karate move to knock Hakushika out cold. Dr. Takao, not one to miss a chance to make a point, yelled at him for calling her a child and kicked the already unconscious Hakushika for good measure. With the case wrapped up, Dr. Takao suggested they celebrate their success with a study session. Takanashi, amused but exhausted, agreed. Just as they were about to settle in, Masaru, Dr. Takao's older sister, showed up. She scolded Takao for ignoring her phone calls, eating too many sweets, and staying out late. Masaru dragged Takao away for a stern lecture, leaving Takanashi to tidy up and prepare for whatever unusual adventure came next. And that's how today's episode ended. Viewers were reminded to stay tuned for the upcoming episodes, and not to forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with all the upcoming anime.